Brahma Samhita.
Brahma Samhita, yeah. Anyway, we managed to get through it. Okay, so let's move back forward. Valena, by the boy Krishna. Niskarshayata was dragging. Anvat, following the dragging of Krishna. Lulkalam, the wooden mortar. Tat, that. Dharma Udarena, by Krishna who was tied by the belly. Tadvasa, with great force. Utkalita, uprooted. Angribando, the roots of the two trees. Nishpetato, fell down. Palma Vikramita, by the supreme power. Ativeva, trembling severely. Skanda, trunk. Pravala, bunches of leaves. Vitapo, those two trees. Along with their branches. Krita, having made. Chanda Shabdo, a fierce sound. Translation. By dragging behind him with great force the wooden mortar tied to his belly, the boy Krishna uprooted the two trees. By the great strength of the Supreme Person, the two trees, with their trunks, leaves and branches, trembled severely and fell to the ground with a great crash. In response, please. By dragging behind him with great force, the wooden mortar, tied to his belly, the boy Krishna uprooted the trees. By the great strength of the Supreme Person, the two trees, with their trunks, leaves and branches, trembled severely, and fell to the ground with a great crash. The poet by his divine grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila. This is the pastime of Krishna known as Damodar Leela. Therefore, another of Krishna's names is Damodar, as stated in the Hari Vamsa. Sacha Taneva Namna tu Krishna Vai Dama Bandanat Goste Damodara iti Gopivi Harigiyate. That's it. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunalitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Acharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastasya Deshatarine. So I've been asked to speak on the 25th verse, which is longer purport than I prepared for the last one. So I'll try and speak on that a little as well. So this main point of this is talking about the mercy of a devotee compared to the mercy, or trying to get the mercy directly of Krishna. So this is absolutely necessary that materially conditioned soul starts to develop some sentiment for serving somebody superior to himself. The very nature of our material existence revolves around the false ego of I am the centre. So it's a very important point in that when we come to devotional service, this may not be the focal point. The focal point is that usually we're suffering, and therefore we want to relieve ourselves. So there's four kinds of devotees come: in distress, in search of wealth, in knowledge, or inquisitive. But generally, in the Kali Yuga, everybody is suffering. And the most difficult, what's the worst type of suffering? It's suffering with the body and the mind. He said in this age, there'll be so many sufferings in the Kali Yuga, but the worst one will be the suffering of, especially nowadays, is suffering from the mind, anxiety. So many people commit suicide because they just cannot function anymore in this particular situation. Every day it's like the screws are being put on a little bit further. Just squeezing you a little bit more, you know, and some people can't. It says eventually in the Bhagavatam that they'll just think forget it, and they'll go and live in seclusion. They'll go to the forest and to the hills in order to get relief. I noticed that when I came from Manchester. In Manchester it's pretty remote as far as ISKCON goes. I was just talking yesterday to one more. He's staying a month at the manor and 2 days in Manchester and 2 days in Scotland. And he's cutting out the 2 days in Scotland because there's a function at the manor. So, you know, anyway, the point I'm making is that they don't get very much association, or much of anything else for that matter. When I came to the manor about 9 years ago, I didn't even know how to use a mobile phone. And the computer was completely beyond what I could understand. I mean, that was my fault to some degree, but what I'm saying is that it was a simple life. The more complicated we become, and I found that so much pressure comes on straight away. We don't realise it because it's gradually coming, and they're expecting more and more and more. So the point is that we were on about false ego. We put ourselves in the centre, and we were talking about suffering. How four kinds of people start to realise that there's something different. There must be something better than this. Usually due to the stress of material life. So when they come to the movement, we've centred on ourselves. That's the point I'm trying to make. You know, when one's suffering, then he cannot see the suffering of others so well. In the beginning stages, then after some time, when we get some relief, we can start to appreciate and give mercy to others. So this is why the Vaishnava etiquette is so strict. Is that in the beginning we taught this Vaishnava etiquette because from Vaishnava etiquette we start to advance. Even though we're following it in a unconscious way, by following Vaishnava etiquette, then we start to develop those qualities. So the most important thing is in the beginning is that we get some mercy from a devotee. We're not capable of taking that mercy straight away, so usually it's Agyata Sukriti, or we do something we don't really understand, but we're actually serving Krishna. And this carries on all the way through devotional service. In the beginning it's unknown, but then it becomes more apparent that yes, we should actually take shelter and offer respects to those who are giving us guidance in spiritual life. And this becomes more and more, it's like a funnel, it becomes more and more tighter. We get less leeway, we have to be more and more aware of devotional relationships. Because actually, what are we doing? Are we just, you know, becoming purified so that when we go back to the spiritual world, we carry on like we did in the material world, doing what we wanted to do and serving who we wanted to serve? No, it's a different thing. We're coming to that point where we can function in spiritual life, and that's the difficulty. Becoming purified on our own account is relatively easy, but functioning in the association of devotees and appreciating other devotees, serving other devotees, this takes a lot of surrender and a lot of effort.